All righty. Good afternoon again. Just got the YouTube going. We are working on, I only had one person to turn it in, so that means everybody else got something to do. We're working on trying to get our study guide worksheet turned in. Let me, am I back to your class? No, I'm not back at your class. I need to get back to you. Okay, so we are. All right, Andrea, I got yours. I've checked it. You did a wonderful job. All right, where is it not sharing yet? Okay, there it is. All right, so again, I've set up a progress learning exam. It has two parts to it, and you'll take that on Wednesday. Wednesday, remember, this week we're on this special schedule, so Wednesday is a normal class day, it's not a shortened schedule day. So you'll do the two assigned, and they're assigned in progress learning. So when you go in to Canvas and click on them, it'll take you there. You can't do them now because they're not available to you until, excuse me, Wednesday. But what you do need to do is complete these review sheets. So if there are any questions about what to do and how to do it, please ask today. Um, again, I said I was going to go through the pedigree question with you all. And I think I might, let me wait another minute to make sure everybody is in. Up, see, as I said that, here comes somebody. All righty. Good afternoon, Kayla. All right, we are in looking at the worksheet that needs to be turned in today, so we're not getting behind in our work. And I did see that some folks turned in some late assignments while you're working on this. I'll check on those. Again, we are taking a unit test. We are finished with this unit on genetics, and we're going on to evolution next week. So we want to make sure that you answer all of the questions. This worksheet is very thorough. We covered a lot of material in this unit for genetics. So please, if there's anything that you don't understand, make sure that you ask. All right, this one down here which says match the description of a genetic disorder. They didn't give you a list to work from, but if you use the website or the vocabulary list, you can easily fill this part in. So there is no word list to you to match it with. Use your vocabulary list on the introductory page to get that done. Okay, but I did want to, like I said, I noticed that some of you all had difficulties with pedigree and labeling. It says which of the people is a carrier, and they want you to circle it. Uh, so the person is a carrier is indicated by a shaded square or circle. So you would indicate that on the first generation, the circle, which is your female, um, is a carrier. In our second generation, one of the children, female children, is a carrier. And in the third generation, one of the males is a carrier because they're half shaded. Okay. It says which people are affected by the condition and it says cross out all. See, to be affected by the condition, they usually shade the whole thing in. So in this particular pedigree, the only individual who is affected by this condition um, is in the third generation. So nobody in the first, second, but on the third generation, the male um, with that totally shaded in, he is affected by it. So you got to remember the rules for making a pedigree chart. Okay. It says what type of inheritance is likely represented by this. Um, and we want to say, because all the females are only carriers and it showed up in the male, then we want to say this is probably a sex-linked disease because it didn't happen for any of the females. Okay, none of the females ended up with this condition, only the male. So that means that this is probably a sex-linked condition. This is what are the patterns? What what patterns are characteristics of pedigrees with sex-linked traits? It typically shows up in the male because it's usually found on the X chromosome, but because on the Y chromosome there is nothing to mask it or counter it, the disease will show up. With females, they can have one X that has the trait on it, and if they have a normal X, the trait won't show up, but they will be carrying it. So they can pass it on, but they won't have the condition. Okay. It says patterns are characteristics of pedigree, autosomal. Okay, autosomal, it could be male or female. Okay, it could be on the X chromosome. Um, And again, because it might not be anything to mask it, um, or it might be a carried on the Y. So autosomal, remember, are those the body cells. So they're not on the sex chromosomes at all. So the male can have it, female can have it, and it doesn't matter whether they're male or female because they're not the X or Y chromosomes. Okay. All right. So I just answered those questions for you. So make sure that you get those correct. But like I said, I noticed on the last worksheet that we did, you all had questions about that. So again, the questions at the bottom say matching, but you need to use your vocabulary list for that. All right, now this, uh, you had class time the other day, and you're gonna have class time today. There's no reason why this can't get completed and turned in today. Like I said, when you come to class on Wednesday, you have a test. You don't have time to do this, and you need to complete this so that you can study it. Okay, complete it so that you can study it. So the test is Wednesday. It has two parts to it, so there's two sections in progress learning that you'll be assigned. And again, I'm going to have to adjust it. Progress learning grades on 100%, and I have to do them out of 20. So once the grade goes in the grade book, and I did that last time, I thought I had adjusted it and then it came back and added the 100%. Anyway, so I had to adjust it back down to the 12 points. So I'll do that again and after the points are in. So you may see 100 points, but it's not going to be worth 100 points. Again, any questions, please ask. The other thing I want to make sure that you understand is that um, Punnett squares are about probability. It's not saying you could have all boys or all girls, even though it's a 50-50 chance that you have one or the other. Um, it's a probability because it's possible. What is possible that can happen. It doesn't mean it will, but nothing outside of the possible realm is going to happen. Again, up here with these vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. All right, I'm going to stop sharing so I can do attendance, check on some late assignments. Again, please ask questions if you need to. Being like I said, I only had one worksheet. When I looked at GoGuardian, I should see everybody working on their worksheet. Right, LaCoria? Again, I expect you to try to get this turned in today. So if it's late, it's going to get whatever points Canvas takes off for it being late. That's what it will be. It's too often I'm looking at folks doing other things other than the class assignment. Again, if you get stuck on a question, please ask. Yes, putting them in a different color would be just fine, thank you, especially when they blend into a fill in the blank question. So yes, it makes it so much easier for me to see the answers when I'm not trying to separate them from the question. Thank you, Kendall, for asking. Excuse me. Okay, for number 8, it's the same thing. Like before, they did not give you a list of things to check with, but go back to, let me pull that up. Let's see, go back to your question number 8. Give me 1 second to pull that page up for you. Okay, look at the page for Mendelian genetics. Okay, so you want this page, Mendel's Law of Genetics. You want to look at
Genetics Primer. Mendel Mendel examined genetics in peas over generations and kept detailed records. For instance,
stuff. All right, so
Mendel published a paper in 1865 with these 3 conclusions to his research. the principle of dominance and recessiveness, the principle of segregation, and the principle of independent assortment. The principle of dominance and recessiveness states that one factor in any traits pair may mask the effect of another. We examined this on the last diagram. Modern Genetics Primer.
So you
A phenotype.
go through this one again.
We now know that Mendel's factors.
But that the three laws are the ones you
The genotype is.
And then just look at this section here as far as.
Finally, let's apply the terminology we now understand to Mendel's work with pea plants.
This was one of the questions.
You can see in the purple box what we do know. White flowers are recessive to purple. Therefore, their genotype is small p, small p. Purple flowers are dominant and must contain at least one dominant or capital letter.
All right, so make sure you go through this. Go to this page that says Mendel's Law of Genetics, and that's what I'm gonna come down.
Each of the parents in the P generation donated one
section that says Mendel's work, and that's
in the F2 generation.
For that question.
Each of the parents in the P generation. In the F2 generation, the white phenotype reappears. Therefore, it must have the small p genotype, or homozygous recessive. The other purple flowers will either be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. This means that they'll either be big P or big P little p. In either case, at least one big letter must be present in order to show that dominant purple characteristic.
All right, so this is the answer to one of the questions as well. I'm sorry, my mic was all up in there. All right, you want to make sure you go to this page, Mendel's Law of Genetics is in Canvas, and you want to come down to the box that says Mendel's work. And in that box, there's three laws of, Mendel had three laws, so that's going to help you. This is this one that I have up right now is also going to help you with one of the questions. I don't have that worksheet right in front of me. I just logged out of it, but this page will help you with that one. Also, make sure you practice this one as well. So if you get a chance to just do this part as a review, go back and review this one as well. A lot of you I'm looking at are still having trouble with recessive and dominant. What it means to be purebred. Purebred means homozygous, dominant, or recessive. So you can be purebred, dominant, purebred, recessive. So make sure, again, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Make sure you're going over that. But this will help with that question. Can't go back without, I can mute her. That's what I would do.
Recall from earlier that I told you in the P.
Can't mute her. All right, right there.
There are three kinds of genotypes. The first is homozygous dominant. In this genotype, there are two dominant alleles for a trait, such as capital P to represent purple flowers. The homozygous recessive genotype would be a genotype that's made up of two small letters, or two recessive.
Okay, down here at the bottom of that same page, you have Mendel's three principles. So you have the principle of dominance and recessive, principle of segregation, and principle of independent assortment. So make sure you read through those as well. Okay, folks. I still only have one person who's turned in their worksheet, so hopefully y'all have turned them in before Wednesday. The test is Wednesday, so please, when you finish your worksheet, study it. It is a study guide, so please use it as such. If you have